obviously you talked about your career, Bryant, but also during your career, you had to line up against top wide receivers.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know, like, if you had 3 wide receivers that you like hated to line up against, it's like. And then also too, Cam, after he answers that, I just want to say, because y'all talked about y'all meeting each other in the playoffs. I was like, dang, I really want to know what that was like on both ends of the ball.
We met each other a couple times. You know, his Heisman, Superman campaign at Auburn.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that right there. And then we can go to wide receivers. But y'all matchups, if y'all can give me like little excerpts of like from college to the pros, because y'all both have been elite on whatever team y'all been on.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, even if Cam on the other side of the ball, we're Pat Pete, or like, look, we're Cam about to do. Yeah. So I want to hear those stories.
I'll give you a quick story. So 2009, we go to, no, actually 2010, we go to Auburn. We both undefeated. You know,
that was a game.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game. So, you know, this is when Cam started to become Superman.
It wasn't proven yet.
It wasn't proven yet, but it was there.
Test.
Yeah, it was there because I think y'all played.
No. It was Jordan Air, but they had the #1 defense.
Yeah, we did.
Like, there was like, oh.
So hold on, I gotta get it. So before the game, what was in your mind or your team's mind going up against Auburn and Cam?
Well, first of all, we knew we had our hands full, but we knew he was going to pretty much doing everything because they had no weapons at receiver. They had this one fast guy,
Quadarius Carr.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you this, true story. And the hand on the Bible, bro. You would have thought we was playing Deion Sanders, Florida State. He kept saying, bro, they got Pat P. Bro, they got Pat P. I'm like, nigga. But it's you though. Like you running like 4.4, 4.3. Like he's a
he has some speed.
But Patrick Peterson's effect, just like any dominant player, the game is won here.
Yeah.
And bro, that whole week it was in the game plan. If you see #7, do not throw the #7 side. And early in that game, we tried to take a shot.
Yeah, you
because,
did.
Like, we tried. Hey, I was like, man, I'm gonna try. The Warriors mentality, man. I don't care nothing about none of that, bro. I'm about to give my guy. You see what I'm saying? I'm about to give my guy a chance. But when you give guys chances and you already know he's in his mind, he didn't even go or attempt for the ball. He flies. I'm like, no, that would be the last
That's
time.
the last. You ain't even.
Like, you need somebody that's going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nah, he was already, his impact, you know, that year. And granted, like, he's talking about who I was becoming. He had already stamped his relevance, and he was already labeled a top 5 to top 3 pick, if not the first pick of the draft. And he had this Heisman moment where he had a punt return, and then boom, he struck it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. Hey, real. But going into that situation, going into that game, right? I always tell high school players, I just wish anybody get to see college like I saw college. That lead up, the build up was real.
Yeah.
People, because we went through a stint, right? In our schedule, we had Arkansas at home, we had Clemson at home, and then it all led to the LSU game. And our fans was like, if we could be above 500 and keep it close in the fourth quarter. This is like all preseason talk.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, bro, we undefeated.
Yeah.
Who would have thought Auburn, especially with the LSU team that it was, y'all had beat Alabama that year, right? And they was on fire, right? And it was Les Miles.
Yeah,
Les Miles was still the head coach.
I did not see a RV leave the campsite.
Yeah.
So the whole week, like anybody who has never experienced SEC football, it's different.
Yeah.
This is before Missouri.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
This is the heyday.
This is before Texas, Texas A&M. This is the old SEC. Smash mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I just observed the energy on campus like, this a little different.
They camped out for the whole week.
This a little different right
Yeah.
here. And just to see the build up. And we had college game day, and it was an energy there that as a warrior, as a competitor,
And even going back to the Quindarius Carr situation, if I didn't feel that we was aligned, like, and as you get prepared for a game, Warriors don't really talk.
Yeah.
Give each other a look.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Sam. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them. I'm gonna need you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I wasn't really getting that look from a lot of people. So that put more on my shoulder where it's like, bro, y'all had Shepard, linebacker. Y'all had Tyron. Y'all had
Eric Reed, Mo Claiborne.
Like, bro, I knew I had to go into that game like the bully because I couldn't get punked.
Yeah.
Because there was so much looking at me like,
what you gonna do?
What can
And they were the favorites. But being
sure.
the favorite though, on your end, like going up against Cam, going against Auburn, like even as the game unraveled, like what was your thoughts?
Like I said, leading up to that game, they played Clemson. There was another big game you guys played. Because Clemson, that's when you started it was a night game. Yeah. That's when you started the Superman. South Carolina. Yeah. So we was like, he a dog. We know we can't allow him to beat us. But he was their running back. He was their quarterback. You know what I mean? He was damn near their receiver too. You know what I mean? So we was like, we can't allow him to beat us. So going into that game was like, man, we got to find a way to stop one. Yeah. That was the whole premise. Stop. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. It was stop two. Yeah. We got to stop two. And he'll tell you, he had like almost 200 yards rushing. Yeah. Total, they had 600 yards total offense that game, bro.
We had a lot of rushing yards, but that was just giving us confidence that we could run the football. Yeah. And, Gus Malzahn is an offensive genius, an offensive guru who kind of created the Wildcat.
Smoke and mirrors, man. So had eyes going this way,
fast misdirection plays,
and two coming downhill.
And bro, it was early on where I was not ducking no smoke because mentality wise, bro, LSU had this bravado, similar to, and some could argue similar to the Miami Hurricanes kind of bravado, right? That was the time where it's like, man, we here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, what? And like their fan base was just that Cajun tongue, radical. You know what I'm saying? Bayou, just bully. And I just remember as the game was unfolding, and there was like a respect. I don't think we ever kind of locked eyes, but his presence was so undeniable. It was like, no, I'm not. It was like the pass come in, all right, boom. You kind of analyze over there. It's like, oh, nah, he is closed. Let's stay over here. And that's just what it was, bro. And what people don't realize is we've built so much team chemistry by having close games that year. We came back from Clemson. We came back from South Carolina. We were in a dog fight with Arkansas. That was at the time that was the largest scoring game without an overtime. And rest in peace to Ryan Mallett. They had Arkansas at that time. So for us, we were used to close games, right? And we would always have a coach like, man, you got to take them to a dark place. Take them to a place they can't swim. We knew facing LSU, their strongest, kind of tier or tactic or badge that they had was the defense. Their offense wasn't necessarily as high-powered as their defense was. So if we could control the line of scrimmage, right, and I believe, we had a lot of rushing yards, that kind of set the tone. And there was one play, right, where Ontario, like late in the third or fourth quarter, we still running our offense.
That jet sweep?
That jet sweep.
Yeah, that was the one that put y'all up 24-17.
No, for sure.
So y'all know the game, too.
You just know, like, bro, when you go to war, you know battles, dog. That's like.
You do, man.
So that whole game, everybody would have thought, and it was a replay, right? I had always the decision to make in a split second. I was always looking at the defensive end or a three technique or even a linebacker. So many different ways, to do the quote-unquote zone read. But the defender that I was looking at, I had accumulated so many yards. I'm like, bro, like, come on, dog. Like, and then, he was such a fast speedster guy. He wasn't a physical runner. So if he could get that edge, dog, It was over with.
And it was.
It just happened. So for us, that kind of propelled our confidence even more. Where like during that season, we beat LSU. It's like, okay, like we belong now.
Yeah.
That game kind of stamped us as, all right, we ain't the little bruh no more. Like we belong in this type of.
And did that make y'all? How did y'all feel for the rest of the season after losing that game? Because that was our first loss.
Yeah, that was our first loss. We end up because after that, Auburn is typically our first SEC game. So that was our first SEC loss. So we went on to play Florida. We beat them. We played Alabama, beat them. Then we end up losing to Arkansas because that's typically our last game of the season. And that's how we end up losing 2 games that year.
Yeah. No, now, backstory to what's my man Terrence, the receiver?
Terrence Tolliver.
Terrence Tolliver, bro. Shout out to TT. I was rooting for Florida. When y'all went into Ben Hill Griffin and
caught
won.
that fade.
Yes, bro.
Janoris Jenkins.
Terrence Tolliver caught that fade. I was really rooting for Florida, personally.
Yeah.
Because the alignment would have been.
You would have met Florida.
I would have.
Yeah.
In the SEC championship, I was like, oh my God, bro. This is a storybook ending, dog.
Yep.
Like it would, but I don't even think me knowing myself, I would have been able to control my emotions.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like that whole year was it was a business
And
trip.
you would have been
then
back
I went
home.
through, I went through the NCAA investigation. It was just so much going on that I was just laser focused. If we would have played Florida in the SEC championship, I don't know if I would have been able to really keep it in a row.
So talking about y'all matchup, but your matchup with wide receivers, give me your top 3.
Top 3.
You hate it and why? Like, you know.
Top 3, I go Calvin Johnson.
Why
In
so?
no particular order. Just because when I went up against him, I knew I was going to guard him every play. Matthew Stafford was going to give him 20 targets or more.
Can you blame him? What are we talking about?
Like, going up against him, I knew it was going to be 5 games in 1.
Yeah.
So I go Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, just because of history that we had. You know, going back to Alabama, Julio actually gave me one of my worst games of my career. And I still vow, it was 2014. It was here in Atlanta. He gave me 197 yards. And literally, it was off just straight comebacks. It was like he ran no other route. It was just 18-yard comebacks, 18-yard comebacks, 18-yard comebacks, 18-yard comebacks.
It ain't that, bro.
It wasn't even that. Matt was just putting them in spots to where I couldn't even get him. He toe tapping. So that was my worst game of my career. But me and Julio, like I said, we have a bunch of history. So Julio, and my last one, I'll go with Antonio Brown, just because he played above his shoulders. Like, he was a little guy in frame, but he played like he was 6'4". Like, his speed said he was a 4'6". He played like he was 4'3". You know what I mean? So he played above his shoulders, and he was a guy that you knew you was going to get every ounce of energy, competitive edge. He was going to block, even if the ball wasn't coming to him, like back before he got a little beside himself. But, like when he was in it, man, he was a dog, and he was a lot to handle for sure.
Yeah. Still staying with the retirement thing, but a blast from the past. Give me your favorite game. Like, when you think about, Patrick Peterson from the standout in Florida, high school to, LSU, obviously, and then just a magnificent NFL career. What game, when you have them sit downs with your daughters, right? Them golf tee times.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, man, let me tell y'all this. What game comes to mind in that type of retrospect?
Man, Cam, it's I played 203 games. Let me go. My favorite one. I would say the one that stand out to me the most, though, is my first one. It's our battle. Our rookie year, you coming on the scene, I'm coming on the scene. Yeah. You had 421 yards passing that game. Yeah. Steve Smith kind of went off. But what made that game so memorable for me was exactly that was the walk-off. It was like 4 minutes and 21 seconds left in the game, maybe 7-something left in the game. It was tied up. You guys punted it off to me, and I returned that punt for a touchdown. And it was like that was like my aha. I'm here moment. And I'm quite sure you felt the same way going out there your first game, throwing for 400 yards.
Listen, I did not know. Right. I did not, bro. I was so locked in that I think it was Captain Munderland. We was on a team bus, and he was like, "Bro, congratulations, Rook." And I'm still you know, that was a time when Cam will soak up under the towel, and I didn't know how to lose, bro.
Yeah.
Like, coming off of Auburn, we went to the national championship undefeated, flawless. The year before that, you know, I was in JUCO, won a national championship. I was on the team that won the national championship at Florida. So it was like, yo, bro, I three-peated, you know, everywhere that I went. So now, this being the first season where I'm starting this season with a loss, I mean, you know, too much care about individual success, like contrary to what people may believe now, but it's more like I wanted to win. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? Like it was that. I remember that game, and it was the first game of the season. There was so much hype, you know, with that. And Arizona to me was also the birthplace or the final game that I played in college, because that's where the national championship was. And I said to myself, I'm like, bro, they say we got a good matchup in Steve Smith and the rookie. So I'm like, all right, but I know the rookie. Patrick Peterson ain't no joke. But even though we got somewhat some good licks in, he still made an impact, and that just is a testament on great players. Like great players will find ways to insert themselves during a game where it's like, bro, who made that play? Yeah. Of course. And my boy took a punt back. I'm like, bro, that ain't on the scouting report. Like, where did we get that from? And he's always been the individual that was like, I don't know how much you played at, like what weight. You was the cornerback, more physical, and you had unbelievable kind of movement as well too. So from press, bump and run, very, you know, cerebral in zones and manipulating, you know, quarterbacks and certain things. And when the ball's in the air, there's a rarity that happens here because a lot of DBs cannot catch. That's not.
Or track the ball.
You see what I'm saying? It was certain plays, dog, that it was one. There was a play in particular when I was watching film. And I don't know if you was definitely in Arizona. And you had a one-handed catch and a toe tap in Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo.
And I said, bro, what the? That's a receiver.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like those things may not even, like, people forget about those plays, but you've made impossible plays so normal, and having that pressure of being matched up with the guy.
Yeah.